I looked over the.
We'll have to make a deal on
That's
that.
just what I do. That's how I do it.
I love that you actually.
We'll have to make a deal if you want to talk, Owen. If you want to speak tonight, we'll have to make a deal. On them lights. On them lights.
We didn't
All right,
have
Brian.
to shut the windbags.
I've got some kiddie rides that take the whole block. And they're 17 foot tall at the highest point. So if those are 18, we don't have to take them down, but. Okay, good. The mayor's gonna throw a fit.
Loves you too, baby.
I thought I'd call you to make sure.
Well, this is from a separate group. It's really neat. It's a obstacle course, a blow-up obstacle course for kids. It's really neat. Then he's got another one of them jump things. I thought we could put it in the parking lot here. I'm gonna try that.
You're absolutely right.
Okay, good.
He'll be down here. We won't know where the booths are all going until the 18th, so it's going to be after the 18th.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, they got
it again.
We
can't go. You can't. We got power outages in Florida. We can't let you go there.
I'm just letting you know. Brian Johnson is running late. I can't make it.
Don't even tell him.
I know. I'm sure John gave it to me. I've got everything I need right here.
Are you good then? Do you need me to do it?
Nope, I got it all right here.
I got rid of my phone. That's what I'm talking about.
Always do.
One thing in
I
the
was
group,
pushing on the wrong button. I just needed to turn the ringer off.
and that's what I was doing.
That's all I wanted done. Got here, Tony.
They're wanting to buy that house. You know, we've been wanting to get down on West High Street.
Yeah, I know where you're at.
Tearing some houses out. Well, the bank owns this one, wants to get rid of it for like $19,000.
Ain't a bad price, is it?
I think I put an air conditioner in that years ago.
Hey, Brian,
I can't go in
we're gonna move your office right over in this. What do you think?
Take an hour or so.
You like that?
Hey, far away from everybody else. He'd really like that.
So, you know, maybe, no.
Make it more painful.
It's my
It's
hand.
easier just to take it.
Take it and move on from it. We think that's a good deal.
Especially if it's
I mean, I'm just thinking, we talked about that in town, you know, I say,
If we could gobble some stuff up while the prices are right.
Bill was, I mean, we want to praise it, it's 14.9 or something.
Let's see what it
Oh,
says, right?
we're Jimmy's?
Anything will cost, well, other than $14.9.
It's cool.
Have we ever announced to the board that we bought that property on High Street? I just
I was
missed it.
just trying to figure out where it was at, from just the look of it. That's the stop sign back
This
here.
right here is the Lotus House.
Okay, okay.
Well, you know, so, you know, the bid was successful or something.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't know we got it. I've been wondering about that.
Ain't there quite a few
Hey,
pieces of
Brian?
property down there?
With that property, should we start doing something with that outside on that brick before it starts falling completely?
Kind of give us the outline of it. So hopefully by Thanksgiving.
Ask Mario what he thinks.
Hey,
Turkey is gonna be that.
before we have Fall Fest, you might want to spray the weed killer down there at that parking lot down there. Down there at the old shopping center lot. A lot of weeds and stuff up through there. That's your other hat though.
Oh, at the old shopping center? Boy, that place was packed for arts and crafts in the park. It was packed.
Bring it up.
That laundromat guy, it's a new owner. Everybody parked there.
Did you see it?
Yes.
He was towing them left and
You
right.
see the pictures on that?
Great view.
See the pictures on
That's what I pulled up.
Facebook? He had that rollback, Hardintown's rollback, and just loaded them up.
He had a sign put up there. People were still parking there.
It's been there for about a year or so. That permanent sign.
Maybe.
God, he already.
I'm missing a board member here.
He's here. He's sitting right there.
Appreciate that.
That woke him up.
We get him moving.
After the minutes, wait a minute, just a second.
We're going to start the Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission meeting of September 11th. Roll call, please.
Director Brian Messmore.
Here.
Chairman Tony Abbott.
Here.
Vice Chairman Randy Abner.
Here.
Secretary Dennis Hutchins.
Present.
Member Owen Cross.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Sr. School Board Member Brian Johnson is absent, and City Attorney Del Weldon is absent,
MIA?
on his way.
Is he on his way?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes and take a motion for approval?
So moved.
A motion to approve by Paul. Have a second?
Second.
A second by Owen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are passed. Under announcements, anybody have anything under announcements?
Yeah.
Would announcements categorize questions too? Just something I want to follow up on, or is that later?
Probably be under is it old business?
Yes, sir.
Okay, bring it up under old business. I have one announcement. We have a special meeting on September 18th at 5 o'clock to award bids for the abatement for the buildings on Short Street. Right.
Mr. Chairman, also listed there is the regular LRC meeting that's moved. Our regular scheduled meeting in October will be on the 16th at 4:30, not the...
Could you repeat that, please?
It's in your announcements.
Okay.
Our regular scheduled meeting for October will be on the 16th.
And Tony, could you explain what the 18th is for again?
The 18th, September 18th, that's at 5 o'clock, right? Because I see at 2 o'clock and 2:30, that's when it's open.
2 o'clock there's due, 5 o'clock will be open
Okay.
at discussion.
We have a meeting at 5 o'clock on September 18th to open the bids, to award the bids for the abatement for the buildings on Short Street, Jimmy Thomas's and Scudder's, or just both of them?
Evidently, we've got some there.
We do have some aspects.
Okay.
So that's what they are, the asbestos returns, and to take it out?
Yeah, we have to do that prior to the gym award.
Really?
Well, we were expecting that. Those are some old buildings.
Would it be proper right now to say something about the fumigation of the two buildings, or?
Mr. Chairman, that's your board member. I was going to tell him to go ahead, but I'll...
Go ahead, that's fine with me.
Well, I guess it's to Mike and Mario. Since those buildings are going to be demolished, don't you think it would be a good idea to see that all the trash is out of them and they were fumigated before they started tearing them down to keep from having a migration as much as possible?
Well, I guess first, we haven't done a study yet on the bugs. As far as the trash inside, that's going to be part of the contractor's responsibility to remove the trash, because building debris and trash can't go to the same.
Contractor being who, please?
Well, we'll have to.
Well, whoever gets awarded.
I just want to make clear, we're talking about the demolition contractor.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Have we put out a bid, Mr. Chairman, for the demolition?
We're not at that point yet. First,
When do
we
you
have to
think-
first we have to get it abated, and
Correct.
how long will that take? Month?
The abatement has to be done basically by Halloween,
The end of the month?
Yep.
the end of
October.
The end of the month, the end of October.
And, the demo is scheduled to be completed by Thanksgiving.
Okay.
That is, I still need to get approval from this board to advertise.
So, if I can ask a couple of questions, please. You're telling me that the demo's going to be completed 1 month after the abatement is finished?
That's what the schedule is.
So you'll be able to advertise it, get it out, get bids back, and make that decision in 30
I'm
days?
going to walk out of here tonight with authorization and have it in this Thursday's newspaper.
That's encouraging.
Now, that depends on you guys.
We'll bring that up under new business.
And also the council depends on them.
So our recommendation, we'll make a recommendation to council then.
Correct.
Okay. We'll bring that up under new business.
Am I going to get an answer?
Well,
us having someone go in and actually spray for, the varmints and the insects and bugs, we can if this board authorizes us to do that. We haven't done that in the past.
It would be up to this board. We've never done that for demos, not
Why do you
saying
want
that
it
it's
done?
a good or a bad idea.
You know it's full of roaches.
All right. Well, let's bring this up under old business where it should be.
Maybe the
And-
asbestos repellent.
There's gonna be a migration no matter what we do, but we could help.
Well, can I say something in regards to the migration? What we've seen in the past, we've had other demos where we have not sprayed, and it's less than a problem once the structure's down. Keep in mind, once you spray, those bugs are gonna go somewhere.
Well, if I'm gonna,
Oh, they won't all die. Don't kid yourself on that.
They run them out.
He's saying it could make it worse.
Yes. For the neighbors, they could.
we got a couple neighbors in here tonight. They,
Right there, there's two.
If you think they're gonna spray or put a bomb off in there that's gonna kill all the roaches in there, that won't be the case.
Trust me, it will run them out as much as it will kill them.
we got a lot of experience on this board.
Maybe we shouldn't worry about spraying them. We're gonna drive them out.
If I lived next to it, I would take my chances on waiting till after the structure is removed as opposed to spraying.
I agree with that.
But we'll do whatever the board would like.
But if you're gonna bring it up,
I'll bring it up under old business for what we need here.
all right.
So,
Thanks, Tony.
All right, so we've got that. Then our regular meeting, like he said, is scheduled for the 16th at 4:30. Financial report?
As of September 5th, the balance for redevelopment was $2,005,979.17, and after our committed monies towards projects, it's $510,456.48.
All right, thank you. Let the record show that Mr. Dale Weldon is here now, too. And we shall move on to new business. David Staub for 523 St. Clair.
Dave Staub Construction. Just coming in tonight to see if I could get another lot to build another market house.
So the last one you done is,
It's got a contract on it
okay, will you be starting work on it soon, or-
immediately.
Immediately?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, the letter we have here from Jim Kittle, is that for the 523?
Yes,
It's not for your father's?
that's correct.
I talked to Jim Kittle, because his number's on here, and he said, if you have any questions, call. I had a question, I called him. He said he's good to go.
So we need to accept an offer for the lot,
I agree.
so
$1.
No, 20,000, we agreed to that.
you're really going low on us now. I thought the dollar days were over.
What's your offer? Dave?
$100 like last time.
I got an offer for $100. Anybody want to make a motion to
I'll
accept
make
or
a motion that
deny?
we accept the lot, the $100 from Mr. Staub for that lot.
I have a motion by Dennis. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Got a second by Paul. All in favor? Any against? Motion passed. You got your lot, and
Thank you.
work with Dale on the timeline of it,
Okay.
please.
And I'm also here for my father tonight, which he wants to live over on Martin Luther King, build a house and live over there. So he would like to. He's been under the weather the past few weeks. I haven't been able to get some stuff from him that I need.
Mm-hmm.
So that's up to you guys if you want to
Mr.
accept an
Chairman,
offer from me
Okay,
on
that's,
his behalf tonight on that or not.
let me ask our lawyer about that. We're allowed to accept an offer from the son or the father?
Yes.
Okay.
I have some input on that from Jim Kittle as well. I asked him about that lot because it's Dave's father. He said he doesn't have the appropriate paperwork done yet, but it shouldn't be long before he does get it done. And I think he should come back at that time when they have the financing secured. He said it probably looks fine. This is from Kittle. But,
Well, how about if we just go ahead and it'll be, if our lawyer's satisfied with it, then they can move on with it, and that way we don't have to wait another month.
My question real quick is how soon, if you get the lot, what's his,
That one will be starting right away too. As soon as Jim gets his paperwork done, we'll be starting on that.
I would rather,
At UCB.
we hold the lot for Mr. Staub for 60 days and give him an opportunity to get things secured, so we're not tied up with.
You guys of the board can do what you want.
Any comments?
Motion to table or a motion to accept?
I'd like to give him the 60 days to come up with it. His father wants the home, but we don't have the financing letter yet. And we don't have, and that's one of the staples that we've done as a redevelopment, that we have the financing, so.
Right, but I'm just saying, you can make it in your motion that it would be approved once the financing. is
Absolutely,
approved.
I'd like to do that
Dale
then.
could do that.
Right.
And that way, he doesn't have to come back.
I can live with that.
Okay. So the motion would be, you're offering $100? Okay, so the motion is to offer $100 for the lot. Once the financing is approved by our.
his
lawyer.
dad's offering the $100?
Dad.
Right.
Bruce Staub, we're under Bruce Staub. So that's the motion, you can write that up how you want there, Kelly.
I got it.
Or
The
Dal.
motion by Dennis, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Paul, all in favor?
Nothing personal.
Motion passed, there's
Thank
another
you.
lot.
No.
We ought to be running low on lots by now, aren't we? Good.
Speaking of that, Mr. Chairman, can I ask Mr. Missmore a question? Brian, have you found any lots for us that we can start looking at?
Here we are, we're going to jump into one right
Well,
now.
I'm just, oh, we are? Okay, let's do it.
We have a house on High Street. You all have a picture of it? Did you get the picture? There. It's a bank repossession, I guess, and this board has been looking for West High Street to start buying some property down there to start fixing it up.
This isn't on our agenda though, right?
No, it's not. It's been, it's on it now.
That's fine.
So if
Have an address on it, Mr. Chairman?
542 West High.
What is it?
542.
So this is at 542 West High Street. This kind of gets our foot in the door for West High that everybody seems to be wanting, so it's up to you guys if you'd like to make an offer for it from the bank.
Is it with the bank?
It's with the bank, right?
Yeah, it's with the bank, and they have a realtor. It's in, it was I believe, a duplex at one time. It's not in very good shape. The realtor, it's been under some, code violation surveillance as well. That's how I ran into the lady, and she called and said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and list that. I know you guys are interested. Are you still interested? And I said, I'll take it to the board. As Tony mentioned, it's, that neighborhood is an attractive setting and could turn the corner down there with something like this, maybe. My suggestion would be, since the commission has the latitude to offer less than $25,000 without appraisals, would be suggest to make an offer of $14,900 and just see what happens.
I like that.
Well, how much are they asking?
No, they,
More than that.
I imagine.
It looks like a pretty big lot, actually.
Yeah.
It ain't no 33-foot lot.
No.
Does it stop where the trees are, or do you know?
Pardon me?
Does it stop where the trees are, or are the trees included in that lot?
it's the one with the sign in front of it.
Right,
Yeah.
but it goes all the way over where the trees are.
I was looking
and
for
all.
the dimensions.
Okay, well, we have a suggestion by the director to offer $14,900, if anybody would like to make a motion, or
I'd like to make that motion, Tony, that we go 14.9 on that piece of property.
I have a motion by Randy. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dennis. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. You can make
Not
them an offer.
opposed.
Pardon?
One opposed.
What?
Do I have any opposed?
Opposed.
I have one opposed, but the motion passed.
All right,
What's your,
Oh, we need a roll call.
we get an answer.
Oh, you want to do a roll call? All right. Yep.
Vice Chairman Randy Abner.
Yay.
Secretary Dennis Hutchins.
aye.
Member Owen Cross.
Aye.
Member Paul Seymour Senior.
No.
So that's 3-1, motion passed for about the third time.
Mr. Chairman? Yes. Mr. Messmore said he voted no because he didn't get an answer.
The
to
last
his
sale
question.
price in 2016 was 40,000. If I recall, I think she said they were going to list it for 39.
And we've got the ability to go to 25,000 without an appraisal.
Yes.
And you want to offer how much?
I suggested 14.9.
The vote stands.
Yep.
All right. So if that is all new business, we'll move on to old business. First, Olin, would you like to speak?
What do you want to do? Talk about your bid demo.
Thank you, Your Honor. The properties over on St. Clair Street that Mr. Staub is invested in, that he's building on, we have set a lift pole there to provide service to the house that is currently there. And there's a garage behind it, but I don't know if the garage is served yet. Is that right? Looking at that piece of property, if we're to serve all of those buildings that are being built through there, the way we're currently serving them, we're going to wind up with 4 poles in pretty close proximity to one another. I don't know that anybody wants to see that in the alleyway. What I'm proposing is that we go ahead and use the pole that we've set, and that we use that pole for a dip pole to go underground with the utilities, and that if redevelopment will cover the cost of materials, the utility will cover the equipment time and the man-hour time to underground all the utilities along that alleyway. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a much nicer look aesthetically. And I don't necessarily have anything opposed or against the poles, but that many poles in close proximity, I think could be problematic.
That many poles gives the squirrels many more to climb up to also, and those just seem to tear our electric lines up.
Yeah. And so we've kind of come up with a plan to address this. I don't know exactly what the cost will be. I'm prepared to give you numbers on that. I think it's going to be around the $5,000 mark to do all of that. I actually think we can do it for less. One of the bigger costs that might be associated with this is to take the current home that's being served. We can run the underground down between the 2 properties. And the property I'm talking about would be the one south of the home you've just built. So we would run the secondary pedestal down between the 2 properties. But I would recommend that if we do that, we go ahead and work with the builder and with his electrician to take that same overhead service and convert it to an underground service and service it out of that box.
The 5,000 would be in materials, not everything?
$5,000 is a good number for us to use for the materials and so forth. But like with all of them, I'll give you a breakdown on the list, what the actual material costs are, and we can proceed that way.
We'd be able to serve all 4 homes for that?
Underground. Now, we don't need a right-of-way or anything like that, it's just...
along the alleyway for our secondaries, we probably need at least have it recorded through that area so that people are aware that the utilities will be served, because it will be a common ditch for those. We'll serve off a property, but depending on how wide the alley is, if we stayed within
The asphalt covers it 16.5 feet wide, and for the most part, the asphalt covers.
So we would need to probably record that, but while it's still in the ownership of redevelopment, I think that makes it a lot easier to try to accomplish.
Is that all right with you, Mr. Staub?
Mr.
Dale, can
Chairman,
you take care of that?
Yes.
it gives our city a nice clean look for
Absolutely.
4 new houses. I don't see,
Anytime you can go underground instead of above ground's great.
So you didn't mention labor yet.
Sir,
You didn't mention labor.
what about the labor?
Where's that money coming from?
We'll contribute all the labor and equipment time.
I wanted to hear you say that.
He did say it, he said it in the beginning.
You did? I
Yeah,
want
you
to hear
did.
you say it the second.
You've got it.
Hold on, would you like it in writing?
So do we need
I don't know whether he can ride or not.
do we make a motion for up to 5,000 or?
That'd be, you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, up to 5,000.
There will be a cost of converting what's already been done.
He's going to absorb that.
That wasn't in that 5,000.
Yeah, the 5,000 would be for us to underground all of it, and with the recommendation that whatever the cost is associated with converting that existing service, because, and not of any fault of his own, but he just proceeded as though, like anybody would.
Oh, we're going to have to dig your yard up too, aren't we?
Not too bad.
Your responsibility is to the cutoff, to the house.
It will be to the secondary pedestal.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know what the electricity charge, a lot of the same equipment that's on the home can be used, like the disconnect in the meter socket. The riser going up and through the roof would have to be removed, that would have to be fixed with another pipe feeding it out. So I don't know what the cost would be on that. I can't imagine it being more than $1,500.
That's only one house.
Right.
And you haven't, oh, you've got the roof on already. Have you got siding on?
Yeah, most of it.
So we would be ahead of the curve on the rest of them.
So could you give us an estimate so we know something to vote on?
I'd have to meet with his electrician, but I could certainly. Yeah.
He actually gave me an estimate on that. I mean, I think it was $1,400.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I thought it would be around 15.
So that's on top of the 5?
Yeah.
So we,
So it's 6,400
yeah, we
bucks.
would need a motion for up to 6,400.
I'll make a motion that we expend 6,400 to complete that project.
Okay, I have a motion by Dennis. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Paul. Yay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passed. Now, getting into the buildings on Short Street. First thing we're going to talk about, do we need to bug it or not bug it?
Mr. Chairman, the consensus seems to be that we shouldn't bug it.
You all right?
If we can get Paul, because it's just going
I'm
to
only
pass.
one vote, fellas.
I don't think we should bug it.
So that won't go. So we need a motion for the abatement to go.
No, the abatement was already approved. I need authorization from this board
For the
to
demo.
advertise for the demo. And just very briefly, I'll go through the demo schedule, which if it's advertised this Thursday, we'd have a mandatory pre-bid meeting on Wednesday, the 20th. We'd have a question deadline from the contractors on Thursday, October 5th. We would have the bids due at 2 o'clock on Monday, October 9th, and this board would award them, which I'm going to have to change the advertisement now, to the 16th is when your meeting's going to be, Brian?
No, our meeting's on the
For
9th.
October.
It's 60.
For the regular meeting's October 16th.
Okay, so
That's right.
then what we'll do is I'll change the opening, or the due time and opening to the 16th. And afterwards, it'll also go in front of council at their normal regularly scheduled meeting to approve your award. And by this, hopefully we have the contract executed by the 20th of October, and the project would have to be completed by November 30th.
Let's hold on a second, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for Mr. Clark. Mike, the demo,
Yes.
what does it include? Is it going to be cleaned up afterwards?
You'll have a gravel.
What's it gonna look like
You'll have
when
a
they're done?
gravel, a compacted gravel lot.
It'll all be dug up, gone, filled in, compacted gravel on top?
Yes.
What do you guys call it, shovel ready?
Yeah, we don't like to use that term.
It'll be hard and not ready.
To ground level.
You know, there's too many unknowns, especially for
And
utilities.
it's both buildings done?
Correct. We're going to do both buildings in one package.
I'm in favor.
We didn't have a vote all we've got is a guy that says it won't be necessary to eradicate, and you got a guy that says it will be necessary. So somebody better make a motion.
We have to Well, let's get back to that then, but right now, let's go out for bids for demo. I need a
Right
motion
now,
to
we're
do
talking
that,
about demo.
okay? And we'll get right back to your
All
vote.
right, I just wanted you to not skip out on me.
Can I have a motion to go out for demo for the buildings on Short Street, Scudder's and Thomas's?
I make said motion.
I got a motion by Dennis, do I have a second?
I'll second his motion.
Second by Randy, all in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Motion passed. Mr. Mario, I hope you're going to talk about bugs.
Bugs, it will be bugs. I would recommend having the adjacent property sprayed and treated in the surrounding area.
You talking about running the Schneiders out and then,
Yeah.
okay, that works for me.
I think that'd be more efficient than spraying the
But that would be done after the building's down?
prior.
Well, that's the one adjacent to it would be Barry's,
Yeah.
Tom Barry's property. I think he has his sprayed anyway, doesn't he?
You're gonna let the migration go then? Huh?
Prior to demo, I would spray
We could put up traps.
surrounding areas. Yes.
You gotta satisfy me, guys, or I ain't gonna shut up. That's a good idea, though.
Prior to demo.
Prior to demo.
Not to say you're not gonna kill every bug spraying those two structures. You're more apt to run the outside bugs and the bugs migrated in the walls out. I mean, we've seen that 1,000 times in our demo stuff. You're more apt to kill them if they're in the walls and we demo it, as opposed to spraying and run them out. But I would spray the adjacent areas, which would be the Snyder's and the other properties.
You think they would migrate across the street then? And
Oh,
not,
that I don't know how far they'll travel.
I don't know whether we're gonna be able to kill them all or not. I mean, you're telling me that, we're better off not spraying anything, but,
Inside our buildings that we're gonna demo,
yeah.
I would spray the adjacent structures, the areas outside, again, like the Snyder's properties, is it Barry's? Linus.
You have
At least try to put a defense up for
you have an idea how much that would cost?
I can get a price from Avell, that's who we're using now for the,
Can you ballpark it, Mario?
I'm gonna say you're probably gonna be about $3,000 in spraying.
And you're talking about the adjacent property.
Correct.
Okay, inside and out?
I would.
Yeah,
3,000 sounds like enough juice to kill the
that'll
bugs.
settle me down.
Uh-huh.
Then why haven't you made the motion yet?
So be it.
I second it.
Motion by Paul, second by Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
That was unanimous. Motion passed.
We happy?
No, I ain't.
Am I forgetting anything here, what we didn't write down, Director?
I don't have anything else written down.
Comments from the audience? No bug questions?
Wait.
Your Honor, under old business,
Oh, wait a minute.
just briefly, I thought it was best we've made some more progress on the Maple Street project today. Mike Clark and I had a phone conversation, and Planning and Zoning has done their part of the steps required by rezoning the property to get ready for this project. We're ready to sign the option contract, and we've already approved that through redevelopment, but I did think it would be best to do a brief resolution. That's what I was working on. I apologize for being late, but I just thought it was best to do a resolution that explains the need for disposing of the property in this way, because it's property that we own, and we're not offering it up for public sale, we're putting it into a development project.
Right, and
So
this
a
is-
resolution would explain it for the record.
And this is for the senior housing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so, just for the record, and to look back on it, this kind of puts it into perspective and preserves that. So this would be a brief resolution. It'd be Resolution 2-2017. And I would just read it once and ask for a vote if it pleases the commission.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. This is resolution number 2-2017, Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission. It's a resolution to enter into a development project, whereas Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission is empowered and tasked by Indiana law to identify and develop areas needing development. Whereas LRC is empowered and tasked by Indiana law to undertake urban renewal projects. Whereas LRC is empowered and tasked by Indiana law to acquire, remove, and demolish real property to eliminate unhealthful, unsanitary, unsafe conditions. Whereas the LRC has identified certain real property necessary for a redevelopment/urban renewal project, which property is owned by LRC and located along Maple and Center Streets in the city of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, described generally as 210, 224, 322 and a half Maple Street, and also 322 West Center Street, which property is 3.5 acres in total, more or less. Whereas Herman and Kittle Properties Incorporated is offered to enter into a development agreement we'll call the Maple Street Project, which is attached here to as Exhibit A, whereby they would improve the land and develop new residential living structures in exchange for the sale of said property by LRC for the price of $28,000 per net acre. And whereas the LRC now determines that the development of the real property identified as contemplated by the Maple Street Project is necessary and critical to the implementation of the overall LRC redevelopment and urban renewal plan, and furthers the statutory goals and duties of the LRC, and will promote the use of the land in the manner that best serves the social and economic interests of the city of Lawrenceburg and its inhabitants. Now therefore be it resolved by Lawrenceburg Indiana Redevelopment Commission, the Maple Street Project B hereby is approved, and the property shall be transferred pursuant to the development agreement and the option contract conditioned on the terms and conditions contemplated by the parties. So if there's any discussion, and then...
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I understand it, and I agree to it, but would this not be the same or similar type document that we could use for other housing developments in our city?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
All right, well, you've heard the, do I have a motion to accept it?
I'll make said motion.
I have a motion by Dennis, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Owen, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Now, that goes to, he's going to get a federal grant in November?
He's applying there 2 different times. When
November and January?
November, would apply in November, and assuming he can make that round, and if that's the case, then the results would be sometime in February. And if we miss that time frame or do not make it, we can resubmit in June, I believe.
And this is all to help him get that in time, so.
Yeah.
Move on to,
Mr. Chairman, you
Yes.
promised me you would go back to old business for me earlier.
Yep, that's fine.
I have 3 small things. The first and easiest one is to Mr. Messmore. Brian, have we got any, it was odd that you bring up this photo on this house, because I was going to ask you tonight if there were any other locations that are in your mind that we should talk about or look at.
Well, that one obviously is I guess, the top on the list. We also have the property on Center Street that we have to get through the appraisal and advertisement process. And it sounds like that the demand for the lots remains high, so on that note, if...
Well, on the one on Center Street, did Jason get back to you at any time? Still interested in it? The neighbor that wanted to build on it?
I don't know about Jason, but, I mean, regardless, I think if we want to pursue, go ahead and have that appraised and advertised, we can probably go ahead and get that started.
He's the guy, Mr. Chairman, that wanted to move next door, build a new house, and then Dell was going to handle it.
Justin.
We had to go through the motions to advertise it first.
Okay.
That was Justin.
Justin, I said Jason.
Okay, I'm following you now.
Yeah.
But we would, need to get that property through the process.
I'm just saying, he was pretty interested.
Yeah, there's...
Okay.
Well, would anybody like the motion to, we need it appraised?
We need to go through the entire process, appraisal.
Advertisement.
And advertisement, and I think we still have some tree work to do.
We can go ahead and get it appraised right now, though, can we?
I make a motion that we authorize Mr. Messmore to follow through on that.
Okay, that's on, the address at Center Street?
305 West Center.
So I have a motion to have 305 West Center appraised by Dennis. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
What about advertising?
We do the advertising after it's been appraised, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a second by Paul, all in favor? Aye. All against? Unanimous. Motion passed. Next thing?
Firehouse. While we have Mr. Clausen here about utilities, can we talk about maybe putting an electrical service in there that was going to be needed for the future, not going too crazy, but we talked about it a little bit, right, Ola? Maybe a 400 amp service or something.
Mr. Chairman, on a couple of occasions, the subject of firehouse has come up, and they've talked about trying to get it kind of white boxed for someone that might want to come in and do whatever they want to do with it. I do know that the alleyway that is coming up behind the old post office and the firehouse, from which that building is served, we're going to have to, as part of the park project, we're going to get rid of those overhead utilities and underground those utilities. So there's going to be some expense that's going to occur as part of that project to redirect the utilities for the buildings on the east side of that alleyway, as well as the buildings on the west side of the alleyway, i.e. the post office and the firehouse. What I would suggest at that time, there is going to be some cost savings for redevelopment in the sense because a lot of that project's going to be handled as part of the Civic Park project. But what I would suggest is at that time, whatever size service needs to be there, and I would anticipate a restaurant, maybe something as big as 600 amp. I don't know that it would go over that. Maybe, I'm not in the business, so I don't know. But most of the restaurants that I see, I don't ever see them typically with anything bigger than a 600 or 800 amp, and that's the big restaurants. The cost
There's 2 floors
associated.
to that building.
What's that?
There's also a second floor to that building.
Yeah, most of your second floor and things, I think is going to be lighting and things of that nature. The things I'm concerned with are convection ovens, professional cooktops, things like that would be high consumers of energy. But, and so to give you an exact number, I don't know. And part of the problem is trying to figure out what should be allocated to the Civic Park project and what should be allocated to a redevelopment project, the firehouse specifically. I'll know better once we get a little further into the Civic Park project. I'll be able to give an answer to you all on that. But can we do it conceptually? Sure, we can do it. We could put whatever kind of service on the side of the building that you think is adequate. And then whoever comes in there can route it wherever they want to go and tie it to whatever things they want to tie to. So yes, we can do that.
But that's not the only utilities.
Well, the water utility is going to be pretty easy, and I would suggest that we don't try to do anything too crazy with it because of where it's served in the street. So wherever it comes into the building, whoever takes the building over just needs to make that work for themselves. The same with the sewer. I think the only thing that's over there that might be a more complex issue is the grease trap. And really and truly, the grease trap should be sized off of the restaurant equipment and the things that are going to go in there. So
Based on the need.
yeah, so that's to be determined.
Grease, that'll actually go in the parking lot behind the firehouse, though, won't it? So, I mean, that can always
What I
be done.
understand, that was where the grease trap that's there now is a behemoth. And I think that it would be adequate for any restaurant they could possibly put in there. But I do believe that it's going to be situated out in the alleyway behind the building. That's correct.
Let me ask your opinion on this, on the bricks. Do you think we need to heat that or not through the winter?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't have enough knowledge about the bricks and the sweating issues to give you an answer on that.
Mario, could you help us on that? I know we've discussed this before, but should we heat that over the winter or not heat that over the winter?
Again, it's brick masonry structure, depends how the winter goes. I mean, if it's a harsh winter, you'll probably see some deterioration of the inside just because of the masonry.
It would only have to be heated to 40 degrees.
Correct.
Yeah, we could just set a firm, not even run no duct, just set something in there.
The electrical
If-
service that's there now is certainly adequate to provide.
There's at least 100 amp in there. I don't remember.
Yeah, it is. We went and, there's not a meter on the exterior of the building, but we did find the meter on the interior
Right.
last week.
Right.
And so I'm certain
On
that
the
the
south
service
wall.
that's there would suffice for a time.
Yeah, and there used to be a brand-new furnace sitting in there. So if we could just get somebody to hook it up. No, not me. I don't do no work for the city. No, no, no.
We can arrange that again.
Make that clear. None.
We can arrange to have,
Now, once you see how much it costs just to hook up the furnace that's there and turn it down to 40 degrees, they'll have to get a lower thermostat, but just keep it fairly warm in there so we don't damage anything.
Anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, Mr. Chairman, that the firehouse, if somebody comes up with a plan and we really fall in love with who has that plan, we can help them with a lot of these white boxing issues and services and stuff, so.
Well, I think that what we're kind of leaning to is getting that civil park done, and then with the buildings surrounding it that we own, go out for RFPs. And that way we can get everybody's idea on what they want to do with the buildings, and we can pick the best one.
No, I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with that. So we're really saying the same thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have one more thing?
No, I'm actually done.
I thought you said 3.
I incorporated 2 of them.
All right. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Backing up to the Maple Street project, there is an open alley between the two lots that several years back, we had another applicant, like-kind use, wanted that vacated. I'm assuming that they're going to need to have it vacated also.
I sort of figured that also.
And I think the proper way to do it would be to have this board make a motion to request council to vacate that and allow me to go ahead and get the survey work and all the legal descriptions, and there's even a possibility of part of William may need to be vacated. But if we could have this board make a motion to request the council take care of the necessary vacations for the development of that property, then if you do that, send it to council and they authorize me, then I can get the ball rolling and get that done as quick as possible.
So moved.
You got that?
Yeah, I got it.
She's got it, that's good. So, I got a motion to vacate the alleyways on Maple Street. Do I have a second? The alley is right in between our 2 properties.
From the back third of the lot,
I'll look at it.
the alley he's talking about.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's almost right down the middle. Right down the middle.
No, it runs across this way.
I just thought.
It runs,
Because it's been so
it cuts it in half.
looked at it, but
It's actually, well, if you include the gravel in the back, sure. Be pretty close to half.
We're talking about the east-west run, right?
That's the one that I know is necessary, and it's been a while since I've looked at it, guys, but
But you're only talking about a half of it.
You're just talking about the property, what's on our property itself.
there again, I'm gonna look at what we call the east and west all the way over, because I'm gonna tell you, a T for a 16.5-foot wide alley to make a turn is very difficult. We may have to do it all the way over to.
Mike, didn't you
the
look that
next
up for Jeff Bittner a few months ago?
I actually looked at this several years back when another company was looking at a tax credit development, and it's been a while. But after listening to this, I thought, wow, I know we haven't brought this back up, and I'm sure that their development, they're going to have to build over that alley.
Well, I think to answer Dennis, we did mention to Jeff, it could be a possibility when he had his project on the table.
Yeah, because I sent him to Mike.
All right, so we have a motion. That was by, who was that by? Mr. Seymour. Do I have a second for vacation of the alley?
I'll second his motion, Tony.
And a second by Randy. All in favor? All against? Motion passed. That's to be sent to city council.
Starting the proceedings.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got lost.
Any other old business?
Your Honor, I guess while we're on that subject, are there any utility issues? Could we ask Mr. Clausen, could we impose on you one more time? Are there any utility issues that you would foresee? And I suppose if there were, would you be willing to assist in the utilities necessary for that Maple Street development. That's one of the contractual obligations we would have, just to make.
Yeah,
utilities
Mel
available.
was recommended that we look into what we have as far as sewer and water maybe on those lots, whether it needs to be moved, vacated, whatever the issue might be, but I can look into that and get an answer back to you on it. I have no idea what's there.
In that alley, isn't
Awesome,
it?
thank you.
Yeah, I think there are some utilities in that alley to be vacated and built upon.
Okay.
All ours or something else?
There's fiber from the tower, I believe, that just got placed in that alley about 3 years ago.
If there is no other old business, comments from the audience? I didn't see anybody. I'm saving the best for last, Mr. Snyder.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Mike Rezzo. I'd like to address the board tonight and just simply ask, I guess it was kind of timely I'm here tonight, when are you planning on actually accepting proposals for the firehouse?
Not until we get the park going.
Okay. We've got an active participant that wants to put a business in there, and we've got a proposal for that property that we think that fits with everything that you're trying to do in that area. Also, I think it's unique in what we're trying to do. So I just want to let this board know that we are prepared to make that proposal to you at any time.
One proposal, Mike, or is it two? It's one project.
Yes, one project, yeah. So we are prepared to do that, so if you could, I don't know what, the process, if we're waiting for RFPs, or if you're accepting them at any time, that's what I'm here for, just to kind of get direction from you guys as to what you want to do with that property.
I have a question for him, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Whoever you have that's interested, I mean, Tony just made a comment about we're going to start that stuff after Civic Park's done for a reason. So whoever you would bring would be somebody that we would be interested in, that has experience and...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just curious.
I'll tell you the one I'd be most interested in, maybe you can work on, is getting the post office to go with it. Good luck. Good luck.
Maybe anything can be worked out, but that wasn't in our initial proposal, but
It's right next door.
we're open for counters,
Yeah, that's good.
But, yeah, it is they have experience. There are other restaurants that they currently operate, and they are actively looking to get into this market.
Honestly, Mike, I think we got like 3 or 4 restaurant businesses that are wanting it, and we just want to see what's the best fit,
But he just wants to be included.
right.
That's right.
great.
And I think that, we've got some other properties too that I think we can, one of the things I heard tonight is you're looking for properties for development, and we have some properties that I think that we can put in a package to work a very attractive proposal for you guys.
Mr. Chairman, before he leaves the podium, I want the board to know, I went down to Bob O's today. I took some pictures, and Mike was there, and it really is starting to look...
They're moving along.
No, it looks really good.
I feel
It
comfortable
really
saying
does look good.
definitely yea or nay.
I like it.
Good. Can I tag on to that comment?
Yeah.
Obviously, we're waiting for our CO so that we can, so I can come back to you
I know where this is going.
to fulfill your obligation to the project.
Have all your receipts.
Do I take the information directly to the clerk treasurer, or do I come
Brian
to,
and Kelly.
You can give it.
take it to Brian?
Well, it's not just
They're
the
going to end
CO.
up down there.
It's not just the CO, we'll have to do a reconciliation at the end, so we'll have to come over to the site and just take a look at it, make
And
sure
that's
it
fine.
matches up, yeah.
I just didn't know if I had to
Yeah.
wait to the next meeting to start that process, or I'll just work right with Brian.
I think everybody should go
Yeah,
take a
take
look
it
at it.
to Miss Brookbank.
Dell, have you been down there?
I haven't done it, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's
cool.
pretty cool.
It's really exciting.
Yeah.
I went down with Mike a couple weeks ago.
And let me just add another thing. I know I'm using more time than I probably should. From Bobo made a comment to me, and this last weekend, and we're not even finished yet, but this last Friday and Saturday night basically was his best ever. He had the best month he's ever had.
Great.
So
That's
since
what
he's
we
been there.
want.
So people are
There's something
responding.
going on at the convention center?
Yeah, well, they had the quilt show this weekend, so I don't know.
There wasn't too many of them over there, though.
I wouldn't think so, but
Yeah, I can't see those ladies going over
I wouldn't think so, but.
They quilted biker patches.
But,
Easy rider. I saw those ladies there.
He had an acoustic band playing, which, so he's mixing up different things, and
just curious
so I just
about
want to pass that comment along to you all, too.
Okay,
And then
great.
we both really appreciate your contribution to that project.
Yeah, to answer your question, Mike, it'll be an RFP, and, one of the things that you guys can consider is, as part of RFPs, we can request that they include their proposal for structural things as well. This is what we're gonna do to the building to modify, this is what we're gonna put into it, grease traps or whatever. I know we keep going back and forth with that, but you guys will be able to write up the RFP however you want it.
Yeah, but they need to tell us what they want to do with it.
Yeah, it's kind of
See
a-
how it complies.
Yeah.
This firehouse very special to this city because
We
we've
got a lot of
sold it
money
3
in it.
times. We don't want to sell it 5.
Well, I just want you to know,
Oh, my God.
we think it's very special as part of this city. And what we're trying to do is not only preserve it from a standpoint of making it something that people will go to, but also preserve it from the standpoint of what it was.
It's a good one.
And so that's all a part of our focus.
One thing I would like to see done on that building is the top facade where they put vinyl siding. I like to see it go back to original. Or
the
something,
front?
something near that,
The
at the
front?
very top, on the front.
Yeah.
The vinyl siding just makes it look ugly.
Yeah.
Support the bell a little
That's-
bit better. I think the bell's a little weak up there.
I like to, since you brought it up about the 3 owners, I like to go on the record and say I'm the only owner that didn't make any money on the deal. All right?
Well, I guarantee the city didn't make none either.
So you're in the same boat with me.
That's all I had unless you had any questions, so,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Snyder?
With regard to 542 East High,
542 East High.
which is the
One across the
house
street.
that you are going to make an offer on.
Okay.
I would think that you all ought to consider raising the price from $100 or something, because this is prime property in the city of Lawrenceburg. It's on the river. It abuts the LCD's property in the back. So when and if it happens that you consider raising the price that you would charge someone, or someone could make an offer, and that you also consider raising the amount of money that someone is going to spend on a house there, not $125,000 or $130,000, but more, so that it fits with High Street. And I don't think you want a $125,000 house on that lot. So just consider, making it different.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Mrs. Snyder?
Hi, I'm Linda Schneider, and I just wanted to say thank you to all of you, because I didn't think those buildings were ever going to get torn down. And I've been next to them for over 10 years.
They're not down yet, Linda.
And don't jinx Mario.
They're not down yet,
God
Linda.
bless you all.
Not there yet.
Linda, did you want to come back and thank us for the bugs we're going to send your way?
No, Mario's going to send them the other way, so we're okay.
Anyone else from the audience? Well, hearing nothing, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Oh, you need claims. We missed all the claims.
Claims?
We missed claims?
Yes. Yeah,
Who's up,
plenty.
Kelly?
That's because it's not on my agenda.
No, it's not. Approval of
Not on mine
claims
either.
once properly certified.
It's under old business.
Right under old business.
I'm sure it is, I'm sorry. Okay, can I have a motion to approval of the claims once properly certified?
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion by Randy. Have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Paul, all in favor? Aye. Claims are passed. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
So
moved.
Stay a while.
Seconded. I hear first, second passed. Good meeting. Hey, before 6 o'clock.
This isn't.
That's pretty good. Hi, Connie.
Pretty good on that, fellas. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all your comments on the
Planning commission over there now.
We've been leaning that way for that part of town. This is getting our foot in the door.
When do you have those meetings?
He, is getting a lower GI
Gonna be
tomorrow, and he's going through the process of cleaning out. So, he didn't want to make a mess in here.
City calendar.
No.
Well, I'll tell